Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Maybe you could kick off with a brief introduction to your incredible film, The Land of Sasha.
So, Land of Sasha is a coming-of-age story set in Russia. It's about youth, about making the first choices in life, and about first love.
And what was the inspiration behind the story, and why did you decide this would be the one you wanted to put on the big screen for your debut feature?
So I've read a book about youth. It was a debut novel of the female writer, and I loved the emotion that was in the book, the emotion of being lost when you're young, trying to define what's the next steps will be in your life. And I wanted to, I thought it's a nice, important topic to talk about because I'm observing a lot of young people who are doing their first steps right now, having the ability of abundance of opportunities. So it was interesting for me to reflect about that.
And how did you put together this incredible cast? And, how did you decide they would be the right people for your film, but also work with them to develop the characters?
I had many meetings with almost every single theater student in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. And it actually was very hard to find the main character because I wanted something who had this sensitivity inside, almost like a feminine part, which is a little bit rare. That's why it took me a while to find Mark, who plays the main role, but it's almost like he plays himself because there is very much resemblance of the personality he is with the character. Regarding Zhenya, the female lead role, I've seen her in one TV series and I really liked her, so she was number one choice for me from the very start. And I just wondered if the chemistry would work between the two. And fortunately, it was almost like they fell in love with each other. So it worked.
And tell us about the shooting of it, because it's got kind of a very particular style and tone, and it feels quite playful at times. So, how did you want the film to look and feel?
My idea was to show youth in a light mood, colorful, bright, full of sun. So we've been selecting the locations on the south of Russia where it would be sunny, and it would happen on the shore of the sea. So that's the towns on the sea, and the sea would represent the big future that is in front of these two young people.
And what were some of the highlights and challenges of the shoot? Did you have any hiccups or any scenes that you particularly enjoyed filming?
As we had very few, or rather few shooting days, it was all very, tough in terms of we never had plan B. And so we hoped the weather would work and all the facilities will be there. And that was a big challenge because, let's say there was one day we've been shooting near this, church or the old castle. And when we came on set, there were people digging something, like a group of archaeologists, and we thought that it's not going to work, and we had to deal with them to agree that they would let us in for 4 hours to shoot it. So sometimes it was like we were squeezed to shoot the whole scene over something like 4 or 5 hours. It was a challenge. And then one more was our main character wears an earring, and we had like a clip, and we didn't have a copy of it. And once it fell off on the sea, in the sand, when we shot the scene on the shore. And the whole group, and it's almost like you will never find it, right? The whole group was doing it. And I thought it was totally helpless. And what do we do? Because we already shot like half of the movie with this earring. I closed my eyes and I really prayed if there is anything that, if there is God, could you please help us? And one of the group members found the earring.
Well, that's really lucky.
It was really a mirror.
And I love the idea that it's not only the young boy that's coming of age, but also his mother. And so, do you think that that's also true that you have different moments in your life. It's not just something that happens in adolescence, but also in later life. And they're both having to go through something. He needs to grow up, but she also needs to let go of her son. So what did you want to bring out in that element of the story?
Yeah, I think that's, for me, it's the reflection about coming of age of the two of them, because I think coming of age is something that happens through our whole life, and that's what I experience as a already grown-up person, that sometimes I'm not grown up at all, and I'm not yet that mature as probably I should be. Coming of age is just starting to make some mature choices. For mother of my character, she was too young when she had her son, right? So now they are more like sister and brother than mother and son. And it's weird, but it's very possible, right? So she never had a chance to go through her youth yet alone, right? Because she had a son at a very early age. And I guess this is her youth now coming to an end. And she's learning how to live life as a person, not as a young mother.
And there's kind of a universality to that story. And everyone goes through, different moments in their life when they have to make choices. But there's also the specificity of the location, the fact that these are young people growing up in Russia. So what do you hope that people will take away from the film? And why do you think it's important that, people around the world have access to the experiences people have in different cultures and different countries, and what it can help us reflect on our own lives as well?
So the main message or the main thing I've been thinking of is that we're sometimes afraid to make the choice, which seems big and which seems transformative, and we think that our life will never be the same. But frankly, nothing is irreversible. It's just a step, it's just a choice, and there is a constant movement that we should be in. So, and for youth, it's even more difficult, right? Because a lot of choices have been done by their parents before. So they're doing their first steps in it, and it's like a message to young people not to be afraid to take their first steps, because there will be many, many, many more, and nothing is irreversible.
And what do you think is specific about the particular pressures young people are facing today? And it is different for each generation. Things like, social media, I don't know, like it's a whole new world, isn't it? So what do you think are the particular pressures?
I think right now young people have too many options. Abundance of things they can do, how they can look, what gender to take, what appearance to take, and sometimes they're lost because when you have too many, like in a big supermarket, you don't know what to choose, and that's their problem. Because I think we had very few choices. That was also a problem, right? Because any step aside from this would seem an extreme. There is no extremes right now. You can do anything, but this anything can be scary. So that's the problem, I think.
And what does it mean to you to have your film showing here at the Berlinale? And, for people to be able to watch it on the big screen, which I think is, after the last couple of years we've had, feels very precious.
Look, I think I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful for being chosen. That's a marvelous program, Generation. It's such a big honor, really, to be part of this program particularly, and to show your film as a premiere at Berlinale. Of course, it's a huge excitement and a great opportunity. And yes, we've seen it on the big screen for the first time. Our two actors hadn't seen the film before, so I was very much afraid to show it to them, because it's like, it's not only you're showing it to the big audience, but also to them. They seem to like it, so I hope it worked well.
And it feels like, there's increasing opportunities for female directors, female creators, and particularly when to come festivals like this, such like a rich array of stories being told. Do you feel like we've made progress on that front, or do you still think there's a long way to go? And why is it important that we have a variety of storytellers?
Well, I think it's extremely important, because I think there is the female view and female eye, which could show any topic at a very different angle from the male eye, because I guess sometimes females are more analytical and more sensitive to some things that men would pass by. And I guess that's what creates the complex picture of the world, right? When there are many, many voices. And I think we are definitely making progress in that. And I've seen here at Berlinale a lot of film director or female directors who are just marvelous. And that definitely there is a huge progress in that.
Can you quickly tell us what you're going to do for your next film? Do you know yet?
Well, I have a script about youth as well, so it might be another coming-of-age story.
All right, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. Thanks so much for sharing all that with us, and enjoy the rest of the film festival.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.